The massive Imperial Scout fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Their dark ships, shaped like arrowheads, blocked out distant stars as they moved toward the blue planet called Earth. The year was 2157, and humanity was about to face its greatest challenge. Admiral James Stone stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Command Station, his gray eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the approaching fleet. At 60 years old, he had spent his entire life preparing Earth's defenses, but he never expected to face such an overwhelming force. "How many ships?" he asked, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. 237. "Sir," replied Lieutenant Miller from her console. "All bigger than anything we've ever built." Stone nodded slowly. Earth had only 50 space warships, but they had something the Empire didn't know about. Decades of brutal warfare experience and technology built to survive humanity's worst instincts. The first transmission from the Imperial fleet came through their communication system. The hologram showed a tall figure in a black uniform decorated with golden symbols. "I am Imperial Commander Ross of the Galactic Empire. Your primitive species will surrender immediately or face extinction." Stone took a deep breath. He had hoped for peaceful first contact, but it seemed the universe had other plans. "This is Admiral Stone of Earth's United Defense Force. We welcome peaceful communication and wish to avoid conflict." The Imperial commander laughed. "Peaceful? Your species still uses primitive projectile weapons. Your ships don't even have proper energy shields. Surrender now, and we might let you live as servants." In that moment, Stone remembered Earth's long history of warfare. How humans had fought each other for thousands of years, developing weapons and tactics that would terrify any rational species. He thought about the nuclear weapons they had built, the biological warfare they had mastered, and the AI-driven combat systems they had developed. "Commander Ross," Stone said calmly, "I strongly advise you to reconsider. We have fought ourselves for millennia. Our weapons may look primitive to you, but they were built to kill. You don't want us as enemies." The Imperial commander's hologram showed his disgust. "You dare threaten the Empire? We have conquered 1,000 worlds. Your pathetic civilization will be a footnote in our history." Stone shook his head sadly. "This is your final warning. Leave our system in peace, or face the consequences." The response came in the form of energy beams striking Earth's lunar colonies. The Imperial fleet had launched their first attack, expecting an easy victory. They couldn't have been more wrong. "All stations, this is Admiral Stone," he announced across Earth's global defense network. "Execute Protocol Ragnarok." Across the lunar surface, hidden bunkers opened to reveal railgun batteries, massive weapons that used magnetic fields to launch projectiles at incredible speeds. The Empire's energy shields, designed to stop plasma and laser weapons, proved useless against simple chunks of metal moving at relativistic speeds. 3 Imperial ships exploded before they realized what was happening. Their advanced sensors, calibrated to detect energy weapons, had completely missed the primitive projectiles until it was too late. "Sir," Lieutenant Miller called out, "the lunar defense grid reports direct hits. Enemy shields had no effect." Stone allowed himself a grim smile. "Launch our ships. Show them why humanity survived its own violent history." Earth's smaller fleet moved with a speed and aggression that shocked the Imperial forces. Human pilots, trained in atmospheric combat and high-G maneuvers, flew in ways the Empire had never seen. Their ships, built to survive nuclear explosions, shrugged off Imperial energy weapons. As the battle for the moon turned into a chaotic brawl, Commander Ross's voice came through again, this time with less certainty. "What kind of monsters are you?" "We tried to warn you," Stone replied. "We're human beings. We spent thousands of years trying to kill each other. Did you really think we wouldn't be ready for you?" As nuclear warheads and kinetic kill vehicles tore through the Imperial formation, Stone watched the enemy fleet begin to retreat. This was only the beginning, he knew. The Empire would return with a larger force, but now they knew the truth. They had picked a fight with the most dangerous species they had ever encountered. Humanity was going to war, and the galaxy would never be the same. 2 weeks after the first battle, the Empire returned with a fleet 3 times larger than before. This time, they'd brought their strongest weapons and most experienced commanders. But they still didn't understand what they were fighting. Admiral Stone watched from his command center as Imperial ships filled Earth's orbital space. The massive purple-black vessels blocked out the sun, casting shadows over entire cities. Their energy weapons glowed with power that could destroy planets. "Let them make the first move," Stone ordered his fleet. "Show them our new shields." The Empire didn't wait long. Thousands of energy beams struck Earth's defense grid at once. Imperial Commander Ross watched confidently, expecting to see Earth's defenses melt away. Instead, his jaw dropped as the beams scattered harmlessly against shimmering quantum shields. "Impossible," Ross shouted through the communication channel. "Those are primitive humans. They can't have quantum technology." Stone's response was calm. "You gave us 2 weeks to study the technology from your damaged ships. Humans are very good at learning from their enemies." The Empire had made their second mistake. They didn't know that human scientists worked fastest under pressure. In just 14 days, Earth's best minds had reverse-engineered Imperial shield technology and improved it. "All ships, execute Operation Ghost," Stone commanded. Across Earth's orbit, human warships seemed to vanish. The Empire's sensors couldn't find them. This was humanity's secret weapon, stealth technology developed during centuries of hiding weapons from each other. "Where are they?" Ross demanded, panic in his voice. "Find them." The answer came in the form of hundreds of rail gunshots fired from seemingly empty space. The human ships, completely invisible to Imperial sensors, had positioned themselves perfectly for killing shots. Imperial ships exploded one after another. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons, couldn't handle the physical impact of tungsten rods moving at near-light speed. It was like being hit by mountains. "Target their command ship," Stone ordered, "but don't destroy it. I want it captured." The human fleet moved like a wolf pack, using tactics developed in Earth's ancient naval battles. Small ships worked together to take down larger ones. Imperial commanders, used to fighting in organized lines, couldn't understand or counter these chaotic attack patterns. "Sir," Lieutenant Miller called out, "the enemy is trying to coordinate their defense, but our AI is blocking their communications." This was humanity's third advantage: artificial intelligence. While the Empire relied on standard communication channels, human AIs jumped between frequencies faster than any organic mind could follow. The battle turned into a slaughter. Imperial ships, unable to see their attackers or communicate with each other, were easy targets. Their rigid command structure fell apart without clear orders from above. Commander Ross watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart by an enemy he had called primitive just 2 weeks ago. His mighty command ship shook as human boarding craft cut through its hull. "This is impossible," he muttered. "We are the Empire. We cannot lose to savages." The door to his bridge exploded inward. Human soldiers in powered armor suits stormed in, moving faster and hitting harder than any Imperial warrior. Their armor, a mix of physical plates and energy shields, shrugged off Imperial weapons. "Commander Ross," said Colonel Williams, leading the boarding party, "your ship is now under human control." Ross stared in disbelief at the human soldiers. How? How did primitives defeat our best fleet?" Williams laughed behind his helmet. "Because you fight like you've never faced a real enemy. We fight like we're always at war, because for most of our history, we were." Admiral Stone's voice came through the captured ship's speakers. "Attention Imperial forces. Your command ship is captured. Your fleet is in ruins. Surrender now or face total destruction." One by one, the remaining Imperial ships powered down their weapons. The battle was over. In his command center, Stone looked at the captured Imperial databases, their military secrets, their technology, their strategic plans. Everything was now in human hands. Send word to Earth's governments, he ordered. Tell them to prepare for a long war. The Empire won't stop until we make them stop. And this time, we'll take the fight to them. The Empire had started this war expecting an easy victory. Instead, they had awakened humanity's full potential for warfare. Their greatest mistake wasn't attacking Earth. It was giving humans a reason to unite against an external enemy. The real war was about to begin. Deep inside Earth's most secure research facility, Dr. Thomas walked through rows of Imperial technology salvaged from the captured command ship. Engineers and scientists worked day and night, taking apart alien devices and learning their secrets. The sight would have shocked Imperial Commander Ross. Humans treating advanced alien technology like children's toys. What's our progress? Admiral Stone asked, following Dr. Thomas through the facility. Better than we could have imagined, Dr. Thomas replied, his eyes bright with excitement. The Empire's biggest mistake was leaving their computer systems intact. Their arrogance made them careless. They stopped at a massive holographic display showing Imperial ship designs. Beside each alien blueprint, human engineers had already drawn improved versions. Look here, Dr. Thomas pointed to an Imperial engine design. They'd been using the same faster-than-light drive for 500 years. Never changed it, never improved it. We found 3 ways to make it better in just 1 week. Stone smiled. Throughout human history, war had always pushed technology forward. Now, humanity had a whole galaxy of technology to improve upon. The Empire thinks we're just copying their technology, Dr. Thomas continued. They don't understand how humans think. We don't just copy, we improve, combine, and create new things. In another section of the facility, AI systems processed the Imperial military database. The Empire had never developed true artificial intelligence, fearing it would rebel. Humans had faced that fear centuries ago and learned to work alongside their AI partners. Sir, a young scientist ran up to them. You need to see this. We cracked their communication encryption. They followed her to a computer station. On the screen, Imperial messages flew past, automatically translated by AI. The Empire was in chaos. Reports of human ships appearing in Imperial space had their leaders panicking. How did they get our encryption code so fast? Stone read from one Imperial message. Dr. Thomas laughed. They use a single encryption system for their entire empire. We use dozens of different codes just for ordering lunch. Their technology is advanced, but they stopped innovating long ago. In the testing area, human pilots flew simulated Imperial fighters. They had already found ways to push the alien ships beyond their designed limits. Imperial pilots flew in strict formations, following rules written thousands of years ago. Human pilots flew like there were no rules at all. Watch this, Dr. Thomas said, pointing to a test flight. A human pilot pulled maneuvers that would have torn apart the original Imperial ship. But with human modifications, the ship handled it perfectly. The Empire built their technology for a peaceful galaxy they controlled, Stone observed. We built ours expecting to fight enemies we didn't understand. That's our advantage. Suddenly, alarms blared through the facility. Lieutenant Miller's voice came over the speakers. Admiral, we've detected Imperial spy satellites. They've seen our new ships. Stone didn't panic. This was part of the plan. Let them look, he said calmly. Let them see what we've done with their technology. The spy satellites would show the Empire their worst nightmare. Humans hadn't just learned to use Imperial technology. They had mastered it, improved it, and combined it with their own brutal efficiency. In orbit, the first human-built hybrid ships prepared for their test flights. They looked nothing like Imperial designs, where Imperial ships were sleek and standardized. Human ships were built for war, covered in weapons, with backup systems for their backup systems. Send the test footage to every Imperial communication channel, Stone ordered. I want them to see what's coming for them. Dr. Thomas checked his tablet. Our AIs say the Empire's leadership is meeting an emergency session. Apparently, Seeing humans improve their perfect technology is causing quite a panic. Stone looked at the hybrid ships through the facility's windows. They represented humanity's greatest strength, the ability to take something, understand it, and make it more dangerous than its creators ever imagined. The Empire gave us access to their technology because they thought we were too primitive to understand it, Stone said. Now they'll learn why humans survived all their own wars. We don't just understand technology, we make it better. Above Earth, the new human fleet grew larger every day. Each ship carried weapons the Empire had never imagined, crewed by soldiers who had spent their entire history preparing for war. The Empire had started this fight thinking humans were primitive. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. The Imperial border station never saw the human ships coming. Using improved stealth technology, Earth's new attack fleet slipped past the Empire's most advanced detection systems like ghosts in the night. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of the ESS Vengeance, Earth's first hybrid warship. Built with a combination of human ingenuity and Imperial technology, it was more powerful than anything the Empire had ever created. "All ships report ready," Lieutenant Miller announced. "Operation Thunderbolt is go." Stone nodded. "Begin the attack. Show them what humanity can do." Across 50 light-years of space, human ships appeared from nowhere, striking Imperial supply lines with devastating precision. The Empire had grown lazy after thousands of years of easy victories. They never guarded their supply ships properly. "First wave of targets destroyed," Miller reported. "Imperial response ships are still trying to figure out what happened." This was the beauty of human battle tactics. Strike fast, hit hard, and disappear before the enemy could react. The Empire's massive fleets were useless if they couldn't find their target. On an Imperial supply base, alarms blared as human dropships appeared in the atmosphere. Elite human soldiers in powered armor dropped from the sky, their suits allowing them to survive forces that would kill Imperial troops instantly. "Base defenses are active," reported Colonel Banks from the ground team. "But they're not ready for close combat." The Empire had forgotten the art of hand-to-hand fighting, relying too much on energy weapons and automated defenses. Human soldiers, trained in centuries-old combat techniques, tore through their lines like wolves among sheep. "Their soldiers have never faced an enemy who could reach them," Banks said as his team secured the base. "They don't know how to fight up close." In space, Imperial ships finally arrived to defend their territory. They formed perfect battle lines, just as their 1,000-year-old training manuals instructed. Stone almost felt sorry for them. "Launch fighter squadrons," he ordered. "Show them how humans wage war." Human fighters shot out from their carrier ships, moving in patterns that seemed chaotic to Imperial commanders. Where Imperial pilots flew in straight lines and perfect formations, humans spun, rolled, and accelerated in ways that defied normal physics. How do they survive such maneuvers? An Imperial commander demanded as another of his ships exploded. The G-forces should kill them. What the Empire didn't know was that humans had spent centuries preparing their bodies for space combat. Special training and genetic enhancements let them survive forces that would turn Imperial pilots to paste. 3 major supply bases captured, Miller updated. Imperial reinforcements are in chaos. They can't coordinate their defense. Stone watched as his fleet tore apart the Imperial defense line. The Empire had built its military to fight enemies like itself, organized, predictable, following the same rules of war they'd used for millennia. But humans had never followed rules in war. "Sir," Miller called out, "Imperial command ship detected. They're trying to organize a counterattack." Stone smiled. "Perfect. Spring the trap." As the Imperial command ship moved to attack, human vessels appeared behind it, having used the stolen supply bases as hiding spots. The Empire's prized command ship found itself surrounded. "Imperial Commander," Stone broadcast, "surrender now or be destroyed." The response came quickly. "How dare you? We are the Empire. We do not surrender to primitives." "Wrong answer," Stone said quietly. All ships, open fire. The command ship vanished in a storm of kinetic rounds and plasma bolts. The remaining Imperial ships, seeing their leadership destroyed, broke formation and fled. In just one day of fighting, humanity had captured 3 major star systems from the Empire. Imperial citizens watched in horror as their invincible military crumbled before what they had called a primitive species. Send word to Earth, Stone ordered. Tell them the counterattack is successful, and tell them to prepare the next phase. As his fleet secured their new territory, Stone thought about how the Empire had started this war. They had expected to find weak, primitive humans. Instead, they had awakened humanity's full potential for warfare. Status report from Earth, sir, Miller said. They're already building more ships. Bigger ones. Stone nodded. The Empire was about to learn another lesson about humanity. We don't stop until we win. In the communications center of ESS Vengeance, Admiral Stone watched as human intelligence officers prepared their next attack. This one wouldn't use guns or bombs. It would use something far more powerful. Fear. Are we ready to broadcast? Stone asked the head of psychological operations, Dr. Reed. Yes, sir. Every Imperial channel, civilian and military, she replied, her fingers moving across the control panel. They won't be able to stop it. Stone nodded. Begin Operation Nightmare. Across thousands of Imperial worlds, regular broadcasts suddenly stopped. Instead, citizens and soldiers saw something that chilled them to their bones. Historical footage of human warfare. World War I battles filled their screens. Nuclear explosions lit up their viewing devices. Footage of urban combat, guerrilla warfare, and special operations missions played on endless loops. The Empire had never seen anything like it. Sir, Lieutenant Miller reported, Imperial communications are going crazy. They can't believe we did these things to ourselves. That was the point. The Empire needed to understand what they were fighting. A species that had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war against itself. On one Imperial world, a group of citizens watched in horror as footage showed human soldiers fighting house to house in ancient cities. They fight in such small groups, one Imperial citizen said, but they're so effective. How do they do it? The answer was simple. Humans had learned to fight in every possible way, in every possible place. While the Empire's armies only knew how to fight in large, organized battles, humans could fight anywhere, anytime, with anything. Second phase, Stone ordered. Show them what we've done to their forces. Now the broadcast showed recent battles, Imperial ships exploding under human attack. Elite Imperial troops running in panic from human soldiers. Their mighty command ships being torn apart by weapons they had called primitive. Imperial Council is in emergency session, Miller announced. Our broadcasts reached their capital. Their citizens are demanding answers. Dr. Reed smiled. The Empire built their society on the idea that they were invincible. Now their own people are seeing the truth. In Imperial military bases, morale was collapsing. Soldiers watched human warriors fight with a skill and ferocity they had never imagined. Many began to question their officers, asking why they had attacked such a dangerous species. Sir, Miller called out, we're picking up massive communications from Imperial ships. Some of their crews are refusing to fight. This was what Stone had hoped for. The Empire's greatest weakness was their pride. They had never faced defeat, never needed to adapt or improve. Now they were facing an enemy that seemed to thrive on warfare itself. Launch the next broadcast, Stone ordered. Show them what happens when humans unite against a common enemy. The new footage showed Earth's rapidly growing fleet, hundreds of new warships, each more powerful than anything the Empire had. Weapons that combined Imperial technology with humanity's brutal efficiency. Soldiers trained to fight in ways the Empire had never imagined. Imperial citizens are protesting in their capital, Miller reported. They're demanding their leaders end the war. Stone watched the chaos spread across the Empire. Their perfect society was crumbling in the face of a truth they couldn't handle. They weren't the most powerful force in the galaxy anymore. Final phase, he commanded. Send them the message. On every Imperial world, in every Imperial ship, the same words appeared. You attacked us thinking we were primitive. You didn't understand that our primitive nature made us stronger than you. We survived ourselves. We'll survive you. The impact was immediate. Imperial military bases reported mass desertions. Colonial worlds began calling for independence. The Empire's council faced demands to resign. Sir, Miller said, we're getting surrender requests from multiple Imperial commanders. They say they won't fight humans anymore. Stone nodded. The Empire was learning what every human soldier knew. Sometimes the strongest weapons weren't the ones you could hold in your hands. Fear, doubt, and demoralization could destroy an army faster than any bomb. Prepare for the final phase, Stone ordered. The Empire's leadership still thinks they can win this war. It's time to show them how wrong they are. The psychological attack had worked better than anyone expected. The mighty Empire was falling apart, torn down not by weapons, but by the realization of what they were truly fighting. A species that had turned warfare into an art form. The end was near, and everyone knew it. Everyone except the Empire's leaders, who were about to learn their final lesson about humanity. The Imperial Palace shook as protesters filled the streets of the capital world. Millions of citizens demanded an end to the war against humanity. But inside the palace, the Empire's rulers refused to accept reality. Admiral Stone watched the chaos through live feeds from human spy drones. How many Imperial systems have contacted us for peace talks? He'd asked. Lieutenant Miller checked her screen. 317, sir. Almost half the Empire wants to surrender separately. This was what Stone had been waiting for. The Empire's perfect unity was shattering. Centuries of built-up resentment were finally breaking free. Send the message to all requesting systems, Stone ordered. Earth welcomes peaceful dialogue with all who wish to end this unnecessary war. The Empire's rulers had never faced such a crisis. Their own worlds were turning against them. The border systems, tired of being used as shields against human attacks, were the first to break away. Imperial border fleet is standing down, Miller reported. Their admiral says he won't sacrifice more ships in a pointless war. In the Imperial Council chamber, chaos erupted as news of the defections spread. Council member Blake stood up, his voice shaking with anger. We must negotiate with the humans. Our empire is falling apart. Never, Supreme Commander Ward shouted back. We cannot show weakness to primitives. But it was too late. The Empire's own military was splitting. Ships began jumping away from their stations, captains choosing to protect their own worlds rather than fight for the Empire's pride. Incoming transmission from Imperial General Rivers, Miller announced. His entire fleet wants to surrender. Stone accepted the transmission. The general's hologram appeared, looking tired and defeated. Admiral Stone, I have 25,000 ships under my command. We request terms of surrender. Terms are simple, Stone replied. Stand down your weapons, share your intelligence, and join the new Galactic Defense Alliance we're forming. More Imperial commanders followed. They had seen enough footage of human warfare to know they couldn't win. Better to surrender now than face humanity's full military might. Sir, Miller called out excitedly, Imperial prison worlds are revolting. The Empire's forces are too busy deserting to stop them. Stone allowed himself a small smile. The Empire had created its own worst enemies, billions of beings who had suffered under their rule. Now those beings were rising up, inspired by humanity's success. On the capital world, the Imperial Palace's defenses activated as protesters broke through the outer gates. The Empire's rulers were losing control of their own seat of power. Admiral, Miller said, we're receiving a priority message from Council Member Blake. He's formed a transitional government with 300 Imperial systems. This was better than Stone had hoped. The Empire was not just losing, it was tearing itself apart from within. "Sir," Miller continued, "Blake's asking for human peacekeepers to maintain order during the transition. He says his people trust us more than the Empire now." Stone thought about how strange that was. A month ago, the Empire had called humans primitive savages. Now their own people were asking for human protection. "Deploy peacekeeping forces to all requesting systems," Stone ordered. "Show them that humans know how to make peace as well as war." Human ships began appearing in Imperial systems, not as conquerors but as protectors. Imperial citizens, who had once feared these primitives, now cheered as human troops helped maintain order. "Update from Earth," Miller reported. "The new Galactic Defense Alliance Charter is ready. 35 former Imperial worlds have already signed." Stone watched as more Imperial systems pledged themselves to the new alliance. They had learned what the Empire's leaders hadn't. That humanity's strength came not just from fighting, but from knowing when to make peace. "The Empire's remaining leaders are barricaded in their palace," Miller said. "They're demanding we recognize their authority." "Send them our response," Stone ordered. "You started this war. Your own people are ending it. Surrender now or face the consequences." The Empire's rulers had one last chance to prevent total destruction. As human ships moved into position around the capital world, the question was whether their pride would finally break, or if they would fight to the bitter end. Either way, the Empire as it had existed for thousands of years was finished. Something new was rising from its ashes, something built on respect rather than fear, and humanity was leading the way. The last stand of the Galactic Empire began not with glory, but with desperation. Supreme Commander Ward had gathered the Empire's remaining loyal forces for one final attack against Earth. 5,000 ships, crewed by fanatics who couldn't accept defeat. Admiral Stone watched them approach from the bridge of ESS Vengeance. "They still don't understand," he said quietly. "Sir," Lieutenant Miller reported, "the Imperial fleet is broadcasting their demands. They want Earth to surrender and dissolve the Galactic Defense Alliance." Stone shook his head. Even now, facing destruction, the Empire's leaders couldn't let go of their pride. They still thought they were fighting the same primitive humans they had first encountered. "Show them what humanity has become," Stone ordered. Around Earth's orbit, 10,000 ships appeared, dropping their stealth fields. Each one was more advanced than anything the Empire had ever built. 3 months of studying Imperial technology had let humans create weapons the Empire never imagined possible. "Imperial fleet has stopped advancing," Miller announced. They're not moving, sir." On the enemy command ship, Supreme Commander Ward stared in horror at the human fleet. His own officers were backing away from their stations, their faith in Imperial power finally broken. "This is your final warning," Stone broadcast to the Imperial fleet. "Surrender or be destroyed. You started this war. We're finishing it." For a moment, there was silence. Then Ward's voice came through, shaking with rage. "Fire everything. Die for the Empire." But nothing happened. Imperial ships stayed still as their crews refused to obey. One by one, their engines shut down. Even the most fanatical soldiers knew death when they saw it. "Imperial crews are requesting evacuation," Miller reported. "They've arrested their own commanders." Stone nodded. "Send in boarding teams. Take them alive if possible." Human special forces stormed the Imperial ships, meeting little resistance. Most Imperial soldiers simply laid down their weapons. They had seen too many videos of human combat to want to fight up close. Supreme Commander Ward was found in his command room, trying to delete Imperial databases, but it was too late. The Empire's secrets were already in human hands. "The war is over," Stone told him as human soldiers led him away. "Your Empire is finished. What will you do with us?" Ward asked, his pride finally broken. "Something you never did," Stone replied. "We'll give your people a choice about their future." Across the galaxy, news of the Empire's final defeat spread quickly. The Galactic Defense Alliance, led by Earth, began its work of rebuilding a shattered galaxy. Reports coming in from all sectors, Miller said. Former imperial worlds are celebrating. They're calling this the dawn of freedom. In the following weeks, humanity showed the galaxy a different way to lead. Where the Empire had demanded obedience, Earth offered partnership. Where the Empire had forced unity, humans encouraged diversity. The first meeting of the Galactic Council is ready, Miller reported. Representatives from 500 worlds are waiting. Stone straightened his uniform and stepped onto the conference platform. Faces of 1,000 different species looked back at him. Former enemies now united under humanity's protection. 3 months ago, he began, the Empire attacked Earth, thinking we were primitive savages. They didn't understand that our history of warfare had made us strong. But strength isn't just about fighting. It's about knowing when to make peace. The audience listened in silence as he continued. Today, we're not creating a new empire. We're building something better. A galaxy where every world has a voice. Where technology serves everyone, not just the powerful. Where our differences make us stronger, not divided. Former imperial worlds, freed from thousands of years of oppression, eagerly joined the new alliance. Earth's scientists shared their innovations freely, helping other worlds rebuild and advance. Final report, sir, Miller said later. The last Imperial holdouts have surrendered. The war is officially over. Stone looked out at Earth through the station's window. His homeworld looked peaceful from space, its violent history hidden behind blue skies and white clouds. Send one last message to all worlds, he ordered. Tell them, the Empire wanted to teach humanity its place in the galaxy. Instead, humanity taught the galaxy that true strength comes not from conquering others, but from helping them rise. The galaxy would remember this lesson. The primitive humans had not just defeated the Empire, they had replaced it with something better. A future where war was the last option, not the first. Humanity had gone to the stars ready for war, but had ended up bringing peace. It was their greatest victory of all.